It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by
PSE Archery, Yamaha Outboards, Better the Hunt, Easy Cut, Packer Max, Deer Camp Coffee, Buck Baits, JPO Game Calls, Limwalker Game Calls, Wild Seasoning, Total Peep, Sunrise Archery, Scent Lock, and Scent Blocker.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin tonight with a, I don't know what, Dan DeFall.
End of the year.
End of the year. So, I tell you what.
Another year.
Another year is upon us.
This makes it, well, we started back together in 14. So this is our
2014.
This is 2021.
Be 2022, be 8 years.
It'll be 8 years.
This coming year, I think you're going to be pushing your 400th show.
April is when we came back, right? April or May?
No, we came back in July, I think. We came back in April this year, yes.
Right. But when we came back in 2014.
It was the middle of the summer.
Because we were in shorts, I remember that.
Yeah, sitting out on the back porch of the house that we were renting.
Yes. Can you believe it's been that long?
Actually, yes. Yes, I can.
Mike, you're taking an attitude.
Yeah. Wait till the end of the show to see what kind of attitude. Oh, man.
She thinks it's Mike.
No, I don't think so.
That's right, Nancy.
No.
You go, girl.
Wow. Ganging up on me here, I tell you what. What am I going to do?
Don't know.
And thanks for joining us this week on the Up North Journal.
But yes.
We'll see you next year.
So this will be 8 years coming up in 2022.
This is show number 627 for me. You're pushing close to 400. And our live stream, this is our 227th show.
And
live show.
We had our 600th show this year.
Yeah. And, we were off the air actually for about 3 or 4 months because of COVID.
Our COVID.
And moving.
And
life's
adventures.
Yeah. So, right now, let's go ahead and we'll get this out of the way, too. That this more than likely will be our last show for this calendar year. Next Thursday is the day before
Christmas Eve,
which is Festivus.
Yes, it is Festivus.
Festivus for the rest
Tammy
of us.
says grin and bear it, Mike.
Wow. Like I said, that'll do it for us this week.
Right?
And then the week after that is going to be right before New Year's, and It's just the holidays. So you know what? It's been one of them years where we didn't push a full year of episodes. I think we're at 30-something. So, we're just going to wrap it up after this show, and then we'll join you the first Thursday in 2022.
That's right. 2022.
So what'd you think about this year?
Well, I think we need to talk about our supporters.
That would be a good thing to do. Otherwise, we might not have it next year. See, you got me all flustered, and we already jumped into this thing a little too far. So, all right, let's talk about the people who help us. And actually, it's still not too late to get to some of these and get you a quick stocking stuffer.
You know what? That's right. And it's not too late. Nothing like going over to Buck Baits. Like I said, if you're in the vicinity of Sterling Heights, Michigan, and you can get down to 15 in Dodge Park, you can get to the brick and mortar store of Deer Camp. And within Deer Camp, they've got Buck Baits. You got to get down. You got to check out Julie and company down at Deer Camp, and inside they've got Buck Baits. And if you use your promo code UNJ20 while shopping at buckbaits.com, you'll get 20% off your order. We're finishing up the year, but you better start thinking about spring, and there's nothing better than thinking about Lincoln Road over the other side of the state. Packermax.com. Use UNJ25, you'll get $25 off your order over there.
And if you're into hunting coyotes, where can you get some calls?
That's right. UNJ10 at JPO Game Calls. Get you 10% off your orders. Think about, I know Chris Kreiner's out shooting them left and right.
Oh, man, he's slaying them.
Right? And let's give a big shout out. We're drinking coffee. Deer Camp Coffee, proud supporter of Up North Journal. Get 10% off your order at deercampcoffee.com. But go check the website out because they got a bunch more stuff coming on board. They've got candles. They've got... they're going to have a bunch of more stuff hitting the website itself. Like I said, get to the brick and mortar store. Get 10% off your order if you shop online at Deer Camp Coffee. And speaking of coffee, we are drinking tonight.
This is a special blend called New Year's Blast. It's cinnamon graham with nuts and cream. And I want to tell you what, this is some good stuff tonight.
It is really tasty. This is the first time I've ever tried it.
It's kind of got that hazelnut taste with a little bit, like I said, cinnamon in it, graham cracker. Almost like a s'more. Almost. So good stuff.
And I tell you what, we wouldn't be amiss if we didn't head up to Newberry, Michigan, where it's another 28 degrees, and it looks like they got a lot more snow than they do last week. FM 123, they're pushing our show up there. Also stop at Cedars, get a good pizza, and they also have Deer Camp coffee.
You know, with all the wind and everything, it didn't look like it was too windy up there.
No, I don't think it was. And I tell you what, another sponsor for this last quarter, if you need a t-shirt or something for Christmas, GiveMeTheGunStuff.com. Get over there, check out the t-shirts they have, and maybe pick up a shirt or two and make a stocking stuffer or a quick.
And that website is?
GiveMeTheGunStuff.com.
There you go. Gotta like that too.
That's right.
So, I guess now we can officially start the show. I mean, we started the show, but you know what I mean.
Right.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, it's the end of the year, and wrapping up our year, it started out kind of slow. And I tell you what, it was just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Mark Coleman right back at you.
And Mr. Gensel as well.
And Mr. Gensel.
So Mark Coleman says, snow. Yeah, there's snow. Even though it's 60 degrees here. It was actually 60 degrees this morning when I left for work.
I know. Wasn't that nice?
Jeez, oh Pete. And when I got home, it was like 50,
right?
52.
It's now 40-something.
So, yeah, the front's moving through. You know, and hopefully everybody made it through. We know there's more tornadoes. People in Kentucky got slammed last week. Thoughts and prayers out to those people. And along those lines, let's just we'll kind of dovetail this right into some outdoor news. I saw something where Dr. Deere was talking. Somebody asked him, well, what happens to the animals during tornadoes and big violent outbreaks of weather like what we saw down in Kentucky and down in the plain states there? You know, I mean, that thing hit 200 miles, over 250 miles on the ground. 5-6 states got hit. And
right.
Last night there was another 20 tornadoes from Nebraska all the way up into Minnesota. So, but he said, what he has seen on their compound is the deer just run crazy. They don't know what direction to go. They try to get down in hollers, get down in between, like maybe a river bottom, creek bottom, where there's maybe got a cliff wall. They can get in and get out of the wind. They're trying to get out of the wind, but they don't know what to do. And he said they find deer, that got trees blowed on them, that are dead or injured. And they suffer just like everything else.
I found the article.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I found the article, and at their facility, he has, I think, which is down south.
Yes, I think they're in Texas.
Okay, and he's had 2 storms pass over the facility in the last 40 years. He's also worked with disaster assessments on 3 hurricanes with associated tornadoes. It starts off by saying most cases they found deer dead or injured in the path of these storms. They've had trees fall on 2 of the best bucks at their own facility. They found them pinned beneath, It was sad to see, and on his ranch facility, one was a 200-inch buck, but the tree fell on him.
They don't know what to do. They don't know how to get out of the way of a storm. So, and I've often wondered that, what do they do in flooding? Do they, obviously they're going to try to run to high ground, but you know what? Animals are just as susceptible to bad weather as we are.
So, bottom line is, with storms of those magnitudes, they tend to run wild. Mm-hmm. They seek out places with less wind, such as creek bottoms with high walls, and most don't make it.
Yep. But if you keep on reading that article, he does go to say that Mother Nature has ways of taking care of things like this, and that's the reason most does have 2 fawns, and within 4 or 5 years, they can actually replenish the herd in a local area. So.
Yep, it's exactly what you're saying. What it does is it regenerates the mass crops. It regenerates it. Populations of acorns are driven. And it says the breeding part of the whitetails is such that they're geared to exist in low population for scarce, but they have the ability to saturate their range in 5 to 7 years after the disturbance.
And think about this too for those private landowners who don't want to cut their mature forests. Mother Nature will do it for you. and it'll open it up where you can get some good undergrowth and then actually encourage some new growth for different habitat for animals.
Exactly. And basically what he says is whether it's a tornado, a hurricane, a blizzard, even CWD, we have faith in whitetails solve almost any tragedy.
Yep.
So there you go. That it's one of those things.
It's sad, but it happens.
It is.
So.
And Jerry Lambert is on. Congratulations to your brother, Jerry.
Absolutely.
And thank you. Yes, thank you for liking our new set.
New to us here in 2021.
Right. So, but, just like you said there, hearts go out to all those people down there, especially this time of year. It's terrible.
There was a guy. I don't know the guy's name. It didn't look like he was, like some high roller. He he said, I got to do something. He said, I feel like I need to give back. I need to do my part. And what did he do? He got his barbecue grill, threw it in the back of his truck, loaded up with some meat and some sides and some water, and he went down to Mayfield, Kentucky, parked in the center of town, started grilling and feeding.
Yep.
And I was like, man, that's awesome. You know, and that's one good thing about people in America. I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff going on right now, but you know what? There is a lot of good. My faith in humanity has been restored just by reading that story.
Absolutely. And, you know, and in times like that, you see whatever your take is on what's going on in this world today, when things happen like that and people do that, it just restores faith in humanity.
Yep,
right?
absolutely. And, you know, and we know a few people down in that area. We haven't talked to them in a while, but people that we used to talk to quite a bit online in some different forums. And if word can get down to those guys, you know, we're thinking about them and hope for the best for them. So it'd be nice to hear from some of those guys if we ever get a chance to talk to them here soon. So,
you know, and like you said, you know, you got disasters like that and things that happen. But you found an article that was just happened a day ago, right?
Yeah, this was actually here in Michigan in Otsego County, and it was Crapo Lake, which is northeast of Grayling. If anybody knows where Grayling is, you know, it's. Get out my map of Michigan here. It's, you know, up here in the middle, so if you can see that. But anyway, long story short, a local there, actually saw elk go through the ice on this lake and called the authorities, and conservation officers, local rescue people came out and tried to get as many as they could, but 12 of them drowned. And I don't know if that's 12 total or if that was 12 that they recovered, because they said they didn't recover all of the elk.
It says a dozen elk fell through the ice and died despite a desperate rescue effort, according to the article.
So, you know, they said it was 2 inches thick of ice, and I'm like, okay, so you put a bunch of elk on ice. I know when you and I get out on ice, you know, and we're into that 3-4 inch range, you know, when we start to go out, you know, first ice, best ice, all that kind of garbage. But if you get on thin ice, I mean, you hear it pop and crack, but elk are like, we don't even equal one.
No.
And there's 12 out there. And how did they get out far enough to get over 50 feet deep of water and fall through? That to me is mind-blowing.
Right. It just, you know, and that's not even, you know, that's a tragic thing of 12 elk that happened. Whatever made them go down the slope out onto the lake, whether they were pushed or whatever might have happened. But I tell you what, it's one of those things that you just, man, nature can be cruel.
Absolutely. Mark, I see your question, and you know what? We will answer that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about them two things. It's because they were in the news. One was yesterday, and then the other one was you know, due to that storm down in Kentucky. That it just made me think about that. So I tell you what, we're bumping up here on our first break. We're going to take a quick step outside, and when we come back, we're going to answer a couple of questions here that Mark has for us. So we're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back, second segment of the show, and we've got a question here from Mark Coleman, and he was asking, speaking of this year, because we're kind of wrapping up the year, what is your top 3 best things that happened with each of you this calendar year? And he says he can think of a couple for each of us here. So.
Captain Kayak.
Yeah, man. I kayaked at this.
Do I got to get you a captain hat?
No.
I think I did.
No.
I think I do. I think we might see one appear in 2022.
I don't think. I figured that I'd put on between 225 to 250 miles this year. And obviously Nancy kayaked a little more than I did, so she's probably upwards of 250, maybe 270. I know she took a couple excursions with some other people that I couldn't be on because of work. So that to me this year, that was definitely a highlight this year. The camping I did, we took 8 camping trips this year. Got to see some beautiful places in Michigan that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. You know, some beautiful sunsets, beautiful trails. Kayaked a lot. It was just, I spent a lot of time in a different way in the outdoors than what I have in the past.
Yeah, you did.
Most of it in the past was wrapped around hunting, and then hunting this year. You know, this year for me,
I was able to take 2 deer. Got to go to the UP and hunt. I hunted the UP of Michigan for the very first time in my life at Danny's. So
we had fun.
We had a blast, and it didn't last long. My hunt didn't. It lasted about an hour. So
it happened.
Yeah, it happened. And then opening day of firearm deer season at my camp, I shot an 8-point buck. And I guess looking back at the hunting side of things, I don't know. Did I talk about this on the show? About it was one of them things where I didn't know if after the year I had previously.
We haven't really talked about our hunting episodes.
We haven't. I didn't think so.
We talked about November.
Okay.
Or early November when we were on dope.
But not our firearm.
Not our firearm. We were saving that to.
All right. Well, since we just brought it up, then let's we'll go ahead and Whirly Bird is in the house tonight.
Right.
Thanks for joining us, man, all the way from Virginia. But this year, to me, it was more about did I still have that same push and desire to get into the outdoors and hunt like I used to, because I'd taken a full year and a half off due to a life situation. And once I got back in stand, especially when I was at your place, I just kind of settled in and kind of chilled and thought about it a little bit and was kind of taking it in. And when that doe come in, the very first thing when I looked up and seen her coming, man, it was like wham. It was just it was just instinct, I went through everything that culminates in taking a deer. It was just like it never stopped. The same way for rifle season. When the buck came through, man, it was just like, whoa, there's a buck. Yep, that's got antlers on it. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, outside the ears, tall. Yep, and grabbed the rifle and got on it. It was just like riding a bike.
Yep. When you have doubts of that, whatever happens in your life to interfere on that, you can always go back out to the woods and hoop that quick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, you said Whirly Bird's in the house. Congratulations to him, because I think he won Big Buck contest.
That's right, he did.
Congratulations to him. But we've been through a little bit, you and I, this last years.
Yep.
Besides COVID, personal life. But, you just, you question yourself and what you do. But if it wasn't for getting back out in the woods or a partner, say, hey, Mike, let's get up the cabin. You can shoot a doe. I don't care. Or family. My daughter's going up to the cabin. You just check yourself and go, yep, I missed it. I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the big things in general for this year, going back to Mark's, I think it started off when we could actually go shoot.
In January?
In January.
Well, actually, or was it late January? When did we jump back in the league?
So I was trying to figure that out myself, and I think it was late January, because it was only 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they delayed it for the month of January, and we started in February.
Yeah, it's when they started just relaxing a few things on COVID to where we could actually do some things indoors in small groups.
Right, and so we were able to actually get in a small group, shoot archery.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a OMG moment, of just being able to talk and talk with other people and just be in a setting where we love to do it and have fun, shoot. And it started there, right? And that was the beginning of the year, which led us into, we had to shut down for a few months because Mike was moving and going through that stuff. But when you got into the spring, into the summer, that's when you were doing your kayaking.
Yep.
And I was going up to the cabin, doing whatever, but just loving the outdoors. Now this year I had a wedding in September. Kelly, my oldest, was getting married, so I had to go through the shower and all that. So we had a summer full of those activities. Fantastic, which kept your mind. But yeah, you go through all that, you get to September, you start to see the leaves change, and it's like, yeah, it's time to get back out of the woods.
Yeah, it's just certain times of the year, bring out certain things in you. I think it's just inbred into people that love the outdoors. Whether it's kayaking, snowshoeing, hiking, canoeing, hunting, riding a horse. Anything on the outdoors. Once you get back into what your thing is, it recenters. When your life gets turned upside down and you get turned inside out, it's like, what do you go back to? You go back to the things that you know and love.
Exactly.
And that's the things that it kind of grounds you again and centers you to where you can actually start to rise up out of that.
Yep.
Thanks, Ray. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Again, another shout out. We'll give it out to Randy Stoppenhagen out at C3 Mitts now, Beyond the Hunt.
Did you see, I don't want to chase a rabbit for a second, did you see that the state of Idaho, at their Capitol building, they put their Christmas tree up? Randy planted that tree 25 years ago.
Yes, I saw that post.
That's pretty cool.
That was very cool. And you're right, Dustin. The woods cures a lot. Hey, JPO's made it.
Hey, what's going on, Paul?
Or Amy.
Yeah, it could be either one.
Who's driving?
That's right.
But we've had. Boy, we write another show on life. You know, we got back out in the woods, and you're right, Mark. There's been like Mike is talking about his hunting, knowing if he could get back out there and do it. And getting him up there was a priority for me to get him up to the cabin, just to get him out. And then he went up to his own.
Well, you know, when you get older, as we are, you start getting up there a few years. My dad went through this, and I started to see it in him at about age 60-ish, 62-ish, right after he retired. But he started backing away a little bit from the outdoors up north, you know, and then I kind of got more involved up there and started working at camp more, taking more of that responsibility under my belt. And, you know, and then it's like, okay, so after what all happened here in the last couple of years, it's like, you know, well, where are my priorities at? Is it doing all this work, or should I kind of step back and just enjoy the time I've got left? I don't mean to sound morbid, but I mean, you've only got so many hunts in.
So many opening days.
Yeah, you know, and we never know when that last one's going to be. And it's like, at this point in time in my life, it's like, you know, I need to enjoy family, friends, and the people I love, and being with them, and quit worrying about who's going to get all the work, you know, so to speak. And that's kind of what this season did.
Well, you know what? Along those lines, I've done that as well. And I think spending time up at the property with kids doing food plots and building things, that's kind of where we're at. It's like doing it all together and putting it together, getting it out into the woods together, getting my brother up there, or whoever's going to help us build it. You know, it's those weekends, long weekends or week that we have together to either build it, plant it, work with the cousins on the property. I think I've talked with my cousin about that. It's just we find ourselves bringing up our family, and then that's our time. And that's what we're doing.
You know, and Ray brings up a great point here. He's talking about certain times of the year with the smells associated with them to bring a calming effect to you. The smell of wood-burning stove actually helped him get through his deployment in Iraq. You know, it's funny you bring that up because, and Nancy can testify to this, when we go camping or when we're kayaking or when we're even just outside somewhere, and I'll smell a campfire, and I'm like, you smell that? and it evokes an internal feeling in you know, a good feeling.
It's almost like a piece of relaxing calm.
Yeah.
When you're in a campground and you sit there and first of all you look through the campground and you can see the different fires.
Yeah.
And what people are burning. Or shouldn't be burning, maybe.
Right.
And then to get that smoke, that smell, you know, it definitely calms you, and definitely. It's one of those things that, whether it's a bonfire out in the backyard or up a cabin or wherever camping, it's one of the things, right?
Yep.
And just so we know, everybody, from JPO Game Calls, we have the handsome one on.
Okay, all right. We might have a little war tonight. You know, Whirlybird is from Virginia, but I just see Mr. Sias has stepped into the cabin tonight, you know, and he says he's from West Virginia, the best Virginia. So, boys, y'all can have at it. Just play nice.
Right? And
good to see you, Tim. And I want to reiterate what Dustin has just said, too. Thank you for your service, Ray. We appreciate
absolutely,
it.
Ray. Thank you very much. Guys like you, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing today.
So, but no, you know, the hunting season to me was awesome. You know, I shot a buck opening day. Not everybody can say that. There's people that still can't say that, you know, right now, you know, for whatever reason. So I was blessed, and I was able to, you know, put more meat in the freezer. So
that's right.
It was a great hunting season. And, you know, I got one tag left, and who knows? You know, there might be a small opportunity before season's over for me to get back out and put a doe down. So who knows?
Well, and that's the thing, right? And I had the wedding in September for marrying Kelly and Gabby, and then I was able to get Gabby to come up with us in November, and she filled both of her tags.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was definitely a highlight of the year.
We brought 4 deer back that weekend.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. That it was one of the things that luckily I got the big stand-up freezer.
There you go.
Or else Kelly was going to be running out to buy one. I said, don't run out and buy one yet.
Kelly, I got freezer space. If you need to bring, you can bring deer over here. Can't guarantee that it'll stay there, but you can bring it over.
Right, and Tim is saying that we are correct. West Virginia is the best Virginia, so man. It's already started.
It has started. You know, that's what I love about doing this podcast. You know, everybody says, "Well, you know, why have you done so many episodes? Well, how are you still doing it?" Because I love doing it. I love talking with everybody here. It gives everybody an opportunity to be able to converse with each other. And yes, Nancy, and the best blessing of all is that it tastes delicious. You got that right. I'll tell you what, Nancy can cook some venison. That's all I'm going to say.
I have to beg the difference. You can cook a pretty mean heart.
Yeah. I turned you on some deer heart this year.
You did. And hopefully next year we'll have a few more chances to try it fresh like that again.
Yeah.
That was very good. I also would like to try it into a few other meals.
Recipes?
Yep.
There we go.
Absolutely. So
I'd be up for that.
I know, right? And that's one of the things, like Nancy said, overall, the taste, you can't beat it. And the way prices are going up.
Don't get me started.
Right? And that's the thing. When you get out there and get back out in the woods and you start feeling that calm coming back and that, your perceptors picking up that big old squirrel coming at you. But it's awesome,
Tell you what, let's take a quick step outside. Mark just keeps firing questions at us. So I'll tell you what, I want to answer a couple of them. So we're going to step outside. We're going to take our next break, and we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Welcome back, everybody. Third segment of the show.
If you're listening to the show, there's reasons you got to go to Facebook or YouTube and watch this show, because the comments get really good
in the chat.
In the chat,
commercial break,
when you've got people from West Virginia and Virginia that can't get along in the same room.
Right.
Luckily, there's no sand; they'd be throwing in each other's eyes.
Right.
It's one of those things. You got to check it out, folks. So you check out our live Facebook feed. You go over to YouTube, check it out there, and see what goes on in the chat. It's not all us.
That's right. That's not always us. So, but Mark, he'd ask a question right before we went to break. He says, "Is there a book in the future for Up North Journal?" And Danny asked him what kind. He says, "The Journey of Up North Journal, Highs and Lows." I could write a book on that. But I don't know how I want to say
we
this.
actually could write a book if we were to go back and just kind of look at the shows that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And see what we did. We could pull out stories from all those shows, because it was something we did in real life, or something to that effect, which led to most of the shows.
Yeah, I've met a lot of good people. I've met some bad people. I will say this, and that's all I'm going to say about it, is when you get into the outdoor industry and you start working with friends and family and things of that nature, it can make you or break you, and it's amazing what will split friendships.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. But it's but this guy right here, he's been the longest running co-host of this show, and I expect him to be here until we say we're done with this show.
I plan on it. And the guy from Michigan is trying to get the Virginia boys to calm down and can't get along.
The guy, which one is that from Michigan?
Oh, the handsome one.
Oh, the handsome one. Okay, I got you.
But you know what? I plan on being here till the day we say we're done.
Yeah, it's
because I tell you what, if it wasn't for the show, God, who knows? But this show has got me through a lot. It's obviously the friendship is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
But to write a book, which you talked about working with people in the industry. One of the sad highlights of this industry is because we're so knit. When you lose somebody,
it's tough.
It's really tough. And when we lost Nick Percy, that was shocking to say the least.
We lost Nick this year. Was it the year before or 2 years before when we lost Jim? And was Jim in the same year as Tread Barta?
Tread Barta last year.
No, Tread was
2 years ago?
2 years ago.
So that means 3 years ago was Jim.
I thought, no, Jim and Tread were the same year, I do believe. But anyway, we've lost three tremendous people in the last 3 years. And that's true. When you work with, we lost Tim Anderson this year from Mossy Oak.
Another out of the blue, get an email and says, "Oh."
Yep. So that's the one thing. I mean, you form a lot of friendships, and
like Denny Steiner, we met him years ago at the ATA. Thank you to Mr. Paul Penix, another industry favorite.
Give me my start in the industry,
right? And he said, "Hey, you gotta talk to this guy."
Yeah.
Boy, were we in for a treat talking to that guy. Right, Denny?
So
he's going to ATA.
But yeah, we meet a lot of good people. Tim Andrus from Rush Outdoors, who we're going to be meeting up with in February, actually, hopefully. That's the plan, if everything goes according to plan.
Yeah.
This year with Michigan and COVID. And actually, speaking of a couple of those things that are in the forefront and things that have been either postponed for a while or canceled, let's talk a little bit about that, because we just found out last week, and you've heard us talk about this for the last year, the head-to-head competition, or the fishing tournament, the Walleye Pro Walleye Series, 2022 is not going to happen due to just the industry and the way and supply chains and the money flow and all that. They've decided that they're not going to have the tournament. And we just talked with...
we just talked to Robert Blosser the week before. It was the Thursday before the Monday that it came out.
Yeah, and it came out that Monday. That's how quickly that happened.
Right, and we were looking forward. He even said it, looking forward to next year seeing us when they're in town, but that's not going to happen. So we're going to reconnect with those guys to find out what their plans are. I know they're not going to stop fishing.
Right.
So we'll have to figure out what they're doing.
Yep.
But yeah, it's this whole thing, and we talked last week with... Island Armory, and the SHOT Show itself in Las Vegas is a mess because of all the rules they're implying.
Yep.
When you hear the Sig Sauer company pulling out,
yep,
that's a huge one.
Well, and look how many people pulled out of ATA this coming or next month. You know, there's going to be a lot of big companies that are not going to be there.
Right, exactly.
So.
PSE will be there, so we hope to contact Bobby, find out how it went. We'll talk with him after. You're right, Ray. This industry is very small. It is important to be an honest and good person. Absolutely. One of the things we take pride in is when we work with supporters of this show, we kind of vetted them out. We don't willy-nilly things, typically.
Usually use things before we say yes.
Right.
Get hands-on, make sure that it is what they say it is.
You know, I seen him checking in on the show, Base Maps.
Yep.
You used it before we even interviewed him.
Yeah, used it for 2 years, actually, I do believe.
Right, and then, got him on the show. So we take pride in that, we're not talking out our butts.
Yep.
We talk about that. So you're right, Ray. Reputation and everything is important and honest in this show. And good, bad, or indifferent, I've seen people in the industry, and I'm not knocking anybody. It just came to mind when he said honest and everything. They didn't want to show something on video because they thought it was bad. Where I'm like, well, show it and tell us why it's bad.
Right.
Right. The hunting is not pretty at times.
Right.
And so it could be turn that into a learning experience.
Well, just for instance, the buck I shot this year, it was a shot that did not put it down permanently. I had to put a second shot on that deer, and it crushed me. I mean, I sat by that deer for 20 minutes after I put it down, and it had an effect on me. I mean, I felt horrible. It was a fatal wound, but I wasn't going to let it sit there and suffer. And it's just things like that. Be honest about it. Talk about it. What caused the shot? Well, the deer was on the move. It was running quartering away uphill on me, and I shot, and for whatever reason, the shot was high.
Right, exactly. And look at us in November. 3 out of 4 deer. Mm-hmm. Furthest one went 60 yards.
Yeah.
Yours went 60. Gabby's went 40. Mine went 30.
3 of the 4 were heart shots.
Yeah, and the buck was a little bit more tougher. It was a liver shot. It was definitely a kill shot. It wasn't, and we had to do that.
Yep, as well.
And that was just great comedy. But it's watching a youngster
learn
how to handle the situation.
Right. Yep.
And that's why we didn't also run the sound, because it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's just those learning moments. Take that, and it really bugs me when they say that. I don't want to show it because no, show it and explain to me why it was bad. What was it? You? Was it the twig? Was it your equipment?
Yep.
Make it a learning experience. Just
Yeah, Tim, you know what? I completely understand. From COVID to issues, it does affect your drive into the outdoors, and it puts things into perspective. And just like Danny and I have said, we've had the fortune of having the ability to be able to, get into shows, closed shows, and meet people and work for great companies and have companies support us here on the podcast and building those relationships. But at the end of the day, it's about friends and family and loved one and spending that time together. And you've got to learn to, sometimes you got to cut bait a little bit and back up and reevaluate before you jump in, and get back in so deep. It's or maybe you just cut bait and you back up and you have to let go of something.
Right, exactly. Mark Coleman, the wife is winking at him. Yes, have a great Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. You be safe as well. We'll see you in 2022.
And we got to get Mark on the show here.
Yes,
soon.
We do. We'll probably have him on. I talked with him prior to coming on the show, so we'll fit him in. We'll get him in and talk easy.
And he had asked a couple questions earlier on too. And just looking at the time here that we got, if we got time to answer before we go to the break here, it was about
about the book. We could do a book.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. Hey, I know a writer. I wonder if you'd write it for.
I know a couple of writers actually. We have partnered ourselves with a couple of writers. Speaking of, I don't have the book here that I really wanted to give a plug tonight.
The
Hunting Camp.
The Hunting Camp.
Yep, that Hunting Camp. Go over to Amazon. A friend of ours, and it's about a hunting camp here in Michigan. It's called That Hunting Camp. See if you can find that quick. And I'll pull that
keep
up.
Talking and I'll look.
Bill Fredericks, and it's on Amazon. But anyway, it'd be a great stocking stuffer, last minute gift. And I think you can probably still, I don't know, I think, is it getting too close? What's the date today? 16th? Yeah, it's going to be tight. But if you got Prime, you can probably get it. Is that it there? There you go.
The Hunting Camp paperback?
That Hunting Camp. Yep, there you go. It is on Kindle for $7.99 or $12.99 in paperback. And I'll tell you what, that is the book I was reading when I shot my doe this year. And it was also the book I was finishing up reading when I shot my buck.
There you go. See, it's a good luck book. You can try to get it. You're probably going to have to pay for it if you want it. But if you do Kindle, isn't that electronic?
Yes, it is.
So you can do an electronic download or paperback.
But that is an actual hunting camp here in Michigan called, it's Singing Hills is the name of their camp. And I believe it was formed back, I think he said in the book, in 1939 or 1938. Our camp where I hunt was formed in 1939. So there's a little bit of history here in deer hunting. But I know Mark's not listening now, but if he goes back to listen, he said the top 3 best things that happened with each of you. That's we already answered. Doggone it. It was about gear. Something about gear that I want to answer. Oh, favorite new gear that you got this year? A bow, broadheads, kayak, recipes, what have you. What's the best new thing you got this year? Favorite thing?
Won't lie. Those G5 dead meats.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny it. Those things did their job, needed to do what they needed to do, and it smoked them, and it's all good.
The favorite thing I got this year, and it's not anything new, it was a resubscribing, and was to Base Maps. And I used that every time we went kayak, and I got to log the time, the distance traveled, and it laid out the actual rivers, and it shows up in red to where I can see what parts of these rivers I've traveled and what parts I haven't yet. So for that, just having that on hand again to me was invaluable.
Right, exactly. And that, I tell you what, that's Base Maps worked out good. I used that too. I plotted my property with it. That was a good. Dead meats was good. New use for the easy cuts.
Yeah. Cracks the rib cage pretty quick, doesn't it?
Right. What else? Oh, big shout out to the Yamaha guys, showing us how to use the Strike King, the lures, and how to rig them. Mm-hmm. So I tried them. I had some bites, so that was kind of cool on the fishing side.
I see you got another writer friend of ours.
I do. And, we would not be amiss if we didn't talk about Jerry Lambert. We've had him on the show several times, and he's got several books out. The first one, Trophy Whitetails, if you go left to right. I tell you what, if you want a great little book that each tale is kind of cool, and then The Hunting Spirit, which is an actual picture. That's a guy that's standing up in a tree in Africa. And then the other 2 books that he has there as well. So you can go check him out on Facebook. Give him a shout. Go over there and get a book. So, Jerry's a great guy. Like we talked about earlier in the show, his brother was able to fill his lottery of winning a
Michigan elk tag.
I
tell you what, man, when you get one of those, you have definitely won the lottery. Right? No doubt about it. I'll tell you what, we're bumping up on the last break of 2021. So we're going to step outside, take the last break for this year, for this show, and we'll be back, and we'll wrap it up right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at pscarchery.com.
Welcome back. Last segment of the show and the last segment of 2021. Looking ahead, looking ahead to 2022. Right. We already talked about SHOT Show is going to be a little wonky this year. ATA is a little wonky, and we're probably not going to go this year. I really don't see that happening.
We're hoping everything that happens in Michigan stays the trend.
So far, it is.
There's supposed to be Wellers on the west side of the state, which we'll try to get over to.
Ultimate Fishing Show,
which leads you into MUCC's Outdoorama, and Tim Andrews will be in town. I think he might be. I don't know if he's double dipping his shows. It's coming back for the others, but we'll find out.
For Wellers?
Yeah, no, not for Wellers. For the there's another show, but I don't know if it's on.
Okay. And speaking of things that are on and not on or moved, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is TAC. Total Archery Challenge.
Oh, yeah, that's some huge news.
Huge news out of TAC. Michigan, for whatever reason, this year is the year that Boyne Mountain is doing a big, huge facelift and reconstruction of whatever they're doing up there to their ski slopes. So, with that being said, they're going to do that during the summer, obviously, because we're going into winter. So TAC, we can't do the Total Archery Challenge there on the mountain. But TAC has loved Michigan so much because it's sold out the last 2, 3, 4 years, what have you. They're looking at another venue in I think, negotiations or trying to pick out the actual one. They've narrowed it down. Anyway, they're coming back this year if all goes according to plan, and we just don't know where yet. And I'm on in their Facebook group, and every day I'm looking to see when they're going to announce it. They said they're going to announce soon because I think all the venues have to be kind of locked in.
Well, they got to know a travel plan.
For the travel plan, I think by the end of February. So we're talking within the next 2 months.
And JPO Game Calls will be at the Hunting Time Expo. Yeah, Paul, I think that's the one we were talking about. Being on the west side of the state. I know you're going to be there, and hopefully there's a few other people we know that are going to be there. So.
Yeah, so we'll be camped out in booths over there as long as the shows are going on.
Right, and that's what, And Jerry Lambert says, thanks, guys. I just returned to the show and saw you talking about my books. Absolutely, Jerry.
So, got to get them last-minute Christmas gifts in. So
Daniel Burns, how's it going? But yeah, looking into 2022, that was so take that 2022 moment and flip it back to 2021. That was another great moment when we were able to actually go shoot outdoors on a mountain in the summertime.
Yeah, TAC was fabulous. The year prior to that, COVID had hit. We still got to go. That was in August. And we actually went to that right before I met Nancy.
Right. We took the camper. We went up there. We had a great time. This year we made it a one-day run. We'll see where it lands this year, and maybe we can make it a little bit longer stay. We'll invite everybody up. We'll let everybody know when they sell tickets because, folks, if you haven't tried it, you want to try and really, take it with a grain of salt. It's just being fun.
Absolutely.
Because, you're going to lose arrows or you're going to try to bust them or whatever you're going to do, but just go have fun.
Absolutely.
That's some of these guys, they can really get serious into it, and that's fine. However you want to do it. But if we can make it a weekend, a long weekend, depending on where it's at and when.
Right.
I hope it's close. If it's in the lower, it's fine.
Well, the issue is right now, I've already got 4 camping trips planned for this coming year. And you can only book them 6 months out in advance, the way the state of Michigan allows you to do it. So as we get further, I want TAC to announce because we're starting to get into that time frame of when they're going to have their event and the time that's starting to open up for camping. And I want to be able to do both.
Right, exactly. So stay tuned. When Mike usually has a heads up in the Facebook group as to what things are going to happen, and
we'll let you know.
Yep. Yes, Race Deer, have a great Christmas yourself, and Happy New Year as well. But as we get into, hopefully we'll get into some spring turkey hunting. Can't look, and
I'm planning on that.
I'm planning on that. I'm planning on I'll probably try to hunt the UP up at the cabin.
It's not like you don't have birds up there. My gosh.
Right?
Flocks.
So that's kind of where we want to go. Probably go up there for turkey. Then get into summer. We're going to do some fishing.
I would like to do a little kayak fishing this year. That would require me getting a different style of kayak, but I'm up for it.
There you go.
You know, I got a truck now, so truck will travel.
Truck will travel.
You know who's not on is Ron Moses, who always gives me grief about pulling my camper with that Jeep, and so I do have a pickup now.
Oh, you know, I don't even know if Ron knows.
I don't think so. That's the first time I've talked
you
about
know,
it.
and to Ron Moses, you're going to eventually get this show. I know you will. Man, thanks for whatever all you've been doing. Been trucking around the country, delivering whatever you need to deliver. Because
that's right. Hats off to that guy.
I've been watching you go from state to state, weather to weather, and
he's on the road.
Yep.
Almost 7 days a week.
Yep. And thank you very much for getting out there and delivering what needs to be delivered. And he had a good season too. So, but yeah, and then we're going to be heading right into fall again. So stay tuned. We'll probably have another interesting fall.
What are you looking forward to next year the most? If you had to pick one thing, what are you looking forward to?
Can I break it up into 6 months? The first 6 months,
Yeah.
I'm always looking
Yeah.
forward to turkey.
Mhm.
That you get into that mode, and it's like let's get up north. Let's get our turkey on.
Okay.
And then next fall, we're the last week of October, which we plan to be up at the cabin. That's hopefully everything works out and everybody can assemble. That already said they're going to try to assemble. That
Okay.
should be a great bow camp.
Okay, right on.
Right, get you up there again and see if you can't get up there for a few days or for the full week, whatever. And hopefully, Mother Nature plays nice, gives us a nice soft spring.
I would like that. A nice soft winter as well.
Right.
Because the thing I'm looking forward to is my goal was to try to kayak at least once in every month.
Well, Adam Wing's ready for some ice, so you and him got to have a little talk. Because
He can go further north.
Okay.
Actually, I would really love to ice fish this year because that's
It would
something
be nice just to get out.
We haven't done that in so long.
Right?
We haven't had weather for it.
No. I know we're going to get that 2-week
Window.
sprint.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's amazing. But it would be nice to get out in an ice shanty just like we did that one year with the heater and just stare down 2 holes and go, yeah, we're having fun.
Yeah.
And you're right, Tim. It's always good to get your turkey on.
So I guess that's the one thing that, for this coming year is I was out in March. I kayaked in March, and then we made it through until now. I don't know if I'm going to get December in. Right now, it's not looking like it just because it's so late in the year, and might pull off a Christmas afternoon one. Maybe.
I think
Maybe.
I don't know what the temps are supposed to. I don't. See
It's
them.
it's going to be in the 30s.
You guys go put it in Saginaw River.
No, we'll probably put it in for Frankenmuth, actually.
Frankenmuth runs fast
Cass
too,
River,
right?
So no, it doesn't. But I don't think it's going to freeze over that quick. I don't think it's going to get that. But if it does, we're going to have a river that's flowing, in which we can actually go up and hit the Asabo because that in the middle of February is still
okay.
So
that's fast enough. It never gets.
You just got to make sure that it's not froze somewhere between the put in and the takeout. That's the problem. If it is, you're hosed because it's in the middle of the wilderness.
I get it. But
it might be a short stretch.
We're looking for another year of shows and being on here with all our listeners and our supporters, having them on and doing things with them. And, maybe, just maybe, we might be able to, for 2 Toms in 2022, Tom Gensler.
Nice. That would be nice.
That would be something.
Is that what the DNR is actually thinking about?
Yeah, that's what they're thinking about.
That would be nice. If they did, I wonder how they would. Would it be 2 in the same zone, or would you buy 2 different tags? Could you put it in different places?
There's no way it would be. You get 2 Toms. There's no way you could say you could shoot one in A and then you could only go to B. I don't see that. That would be because typically the Upper Peninsula is all 1. So if they do 2,
how do you tag it? I mean, you get
it'll be a 1 tag, 2 tag.
So if you get the week hunt in public land where we used to hunt for the second week of the second week of the season, you got 7 days to hunt. So you can take 2 in that week period of time
if they keep the dates. Right?
I think I would actually plan it for later on in the season.
What I would hope is if you're going to take 2 birds, then split the season.
Mm-hmm.
First half, second half. That's it. Don't have a week.
Right.
I know they only want 500 at a time on public land, but
I don't know.
I know that would be interesting to see how that's.
Maybe we get Mr. Miller on to talk about it.
Right? See if he's got anything about it. That'd be awesome.
He'd have a take on it, sure.
So, but looking forward to a great 2022. We're going to end 2021 on a great note. We had a great deer season. Our freezers are full, and we're going to roll into 2022, hopefully with all these shows, seeing our supporters, being with them, just being out in the public again, and hopefully everything rolls well.
I hope so. I really do.
I know.
I'm tired of all this COVID stuff getting in the way of things. I'm tired of shows being canceled or being, having to do different things or not being able to bring product out and put it in somebody's hand. You can't shake all that. I'm over this.
Right? And that's one of the things. And, you sit there and you try to, but it all goes away when you go out in the outdoors. Whether you're ice fishing, turkey season, fishing during the summer, or fall hunting, it all goes away.
Social distancing is the best in the outdoors.
That's right.
We learned to social distance before anybody else did. And mask up when we wear our net gaiters in the tree stand. I'll tell you what.
And JPO Game Calls says, great show tonight, guys. You helped us get through COVID. I was able to go back, listen, and reflect on your shows.
Thank you, man.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. See you next year or sooner. Yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll, Paul, we'll get a hold of you about the shows anyways.
Absolutely.
You're on our list to talk to.
So other than that, I think it's a wrap for 2021. We will be back January 6th. You know what? I tell you what. For those of you who are actually listening to the show right now, private message us on our Up North Journal page or on our personal page on Facebook. Let us know what day you would like the show, because we've played around with Wednesday, we played around with Thursday, and we've played around with Sunday. I can tell you Sunday's probably not going to be the day. But is there a day that would actually be better for,
like Wednesday night or Thursday night
or a Tuesday or a Monday?
We're trying to settle on a date during the week because as things start to change in our lives and weekends become
more important to us,
different.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday is not going to work.
Right. So if it's a Wednesday or a Thursday, let us know. Or a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put a poll up.
That might work. So. Well, everybody, I hope everybody has a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We will be back the first week in January. We'll be on Facebook. If you got anything cool, make sure you show it on the page for us, or post it on the page, share it with us.
And go out and support our supporters, please. It helps them see that we're getting the word out about them, and then they help us.
Doesn't have to be a Christmas gift. It can be for yourself.
That's right.
So get over to them, check them out, and help those who help us. Make sure if you get a chance to share the show for us. If you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a review. It helps us and helps our supporters as well. So that's going to do it for 2021, folks. Thank you guys and gals for being loyal viewers and listeners, and we'll see you next year. This episode was brought to you by
PSE Archery, Yamaha Outboards, Better the Hunt, Easy Cut, Packer Max, Deer Camp Coffee, Buck Baits, JPO Game Calls, Limwalker Game Calls, Wild Seasoning, Total Peep, Sunrise Archery, Scent Lock, and Scent Blocker.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.